All right, so I was really excited to sit down and talk with you, Steve, about a couple things that have to do with the economy, because I think it will be interesting and people would be interested to hear the viewpoints of a mortgage advisor on this stuff as compared to a financial advisor. And the goal being, or hope, that maybe we'll have different opinions actually on some of this stuff.
I'm sure we will.
Okay. Off to a great start.
Yeah.
So, my first number one question for you, the hot question of the day. When do you think a national recession is going to hit?
Crystal ball question out of the gates. So, I'm not an economist. I always preface that with all my clients, everybody I talk to. I read a lot, try and be as well versed as I can. It's the $1 million question right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking 2020 is the big golden year.
Okay.
I actually just got some research from BlackRock, putting out some statistics about their probability or their measure of probability for recessions. They're saying 2021 is a 54% chance.
54%?
54%.
2020.
Whereas 2020 is only 38%. So they still feel that the market has a little bit of room to run. We're not completely overcooked into this business cycle. I think it's somewhere in that mix.
So you agree with those statistics?
I do. Yeah, I think we're due for it.
Do you think it could be as late as 2021?
It could. I mean, I always think of the economy as this giant train, and the train is just this moving pile of steel, and it's very hard to get going. But once it's going, it's doing great.
Yeah, it's
But
hard to slow down.
It's really hard to slow down unless you break the tracks. And as soon as you break the tracks and then it derails, that's where your big recession hits.
Like an outside event, like a war or something,
Exactly.
would be breaking the tracks.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to take something cataclysmic because fundamentally we look pretty good.
Yeah.
There's nothing looming, but of course everybody said that in 2007. There was a few people raising eyebrows saying, oh, there's some bubbles out there. But right now nobody sees any bubbles.
I agree. I mean, I don't either.
Yeah.
But, when you look at how people follow the cycles, right?
Yeah.
And when unemployment hits its low for the cycle, then a recession is due, and we're pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
And then in some opinions, we're 8 years in, right, to a booming economy, so we're overdue for a recession.
Yes and no. I mean, there is that theory, but I've also heard other theories that say we're actually not that far into a recovery period because while the Fed was handing out money via quantitative easing, that's not a real business cycle.
Yeah,
And this is just what I've read and heard interviews on by some pretty prominent people that been on Bloomberg, et cetera. They're saying while interest rates are at zero, the Fed is printing money or buying treasuries for easing. That doesn't count. So the real clock started when interest rates came off the ground.
I like that analogy as a mom because, actually, my older brother June has an analogy about this that's my favorite as a mom because he says that you got to think of it as like, okay, so America's a bunch of toddlers and the Federal Reserve's been feeding us sugar.
Yeah.
To keep us amped up.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep the activity going. But sugar is an addictive drug. And so now they're like slowly easing us off the sugar. And if you've ever seen a toddler come off sugar, it's got to be a careful process to get it back to normal where it's carrying itself in a healthy way.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And it seems like it's easy for people to understand.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. It really is the thing where, I understand the Fed had to do what it had to do. It had to prop up a little bit to keep the kids high on sugar, to keep us running around, creating activity. The crazy thing is how they're unraveling it, how they're going to empty their balance sheet. Those are the big question marks out there. What's going to happen to the yield curve, if it inverts? I mean, there's all these crazy things that could happen that, people always say business cycles don't die of old age. They die because they get killed. So when you get killed, there's your recession coming in, and it always comes from an angle that nobody's really looking for.
Yeah, it's always a surprise.
Yeah,
in some sense.
Yes.
So then, how do you see a national recession affecting Reno? Because I feel like Reno will be a little bit, because of the massive expansion we've had, and because we have so much growth in different businesses, and we're no longer so reliant on tourism. Like, when the last recession hit Reno, really the only booming industry we had was tourism. And now there's so many other industries that have come in here. I mean, we have a tech industry now. We have other things that we're relying on besides just the casinos. So I feel like maybe Reno, even if there is a nationwide recession, Reno could be a little bit of an island and not feel it quite as bad as the rest of the country.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, yes, the tech presence is here, but it's a little bit overstated because, yes, Tesla's here, but majority of the jobs that they brought are not tech jobs. A lot of these companies have moved here for production purposes. They haven't brought this overwhelming number of high-paying tech-level jobs that we thought they were.
Right.
So,
maybe they're not tech jobs, and
Mhm.
maybe they're not as high paying as we would like to see,
Mhm.
but they're still jobs.
They still are, absolutely, which will help buffer that, overall big blanket recession. But I do think a lot of those new jobs can go away just as fast as they came here. That's my worry, is if they're not these higher paying positions, that they can fold them as quick as they open them. So I feel like, yes, we have a little bit more insulation than we did last time in this area in northern Nevada, but I think we're still going to be very susceptible to it. I think that this, everybody here, unfortunately, lives to their paychecks. I think that's most places. And if you take away a little bit of a paycheck, if the government goes on furlough, that's a big provider of income in this area. If tourism is down and that's half of the household income, that can affect it. So there's still going to be some issues. I think Reno's not completely insulated, but it does have a better chance than last time.
Well, that's at least positive to hear.
Yeah.
What are you telling your clients, if anything, to prepare for that?
The big thing I talk to my clients about is timeline. Investment horizon, what stage in the game you're in. If you're in the red zone, you're getting close to retirement, you're going to hang up your jersey and off you go, and you now no longer have a paycheck, that's a completely different discussion than somebody our age. You like how I lumped you in?
Yeah,
Somebody
thanks.
our age, yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, lots of great. Somebody our age that has a lot of time in front of them to weather the ups and downs. In their case, they're probably not going to do a whole lot. It's going to be the same things I always preach: pay off debts, save, be liquid, be ready for opportunity, don't overspend, be doing the things that you should be doing from a fundamental financial planning standpoint.
Right, you don't need to freak out too much in preparation.
No, not at all. I mean, I have a lot of clients that, they stress all night, constantly like, what about this, what about that? You could keep yourself up for years worrying about all the what ifs. It really only matters if you're really close to a very important milestone like retirement, something of that, or if you're getting ready to make a major purchase. You have to be cognizant of what you're doing. You can't just be out there throwing money around,
Making it rain.
Making it rain, yeah.
So speaking of making a major purchase,
Mhm.
say that we're talking about a client
Mm-hmm.
who's at the beginning of a future financial success.
Mhm.
They want to set themselves up in the best way moving forward. They don't own anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
They've been maybe only contributing to their retirement through their 401k that gets deducted from their paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a chunk of money to put down on a home,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think it would be a better investment than purchasing their home?
In this area, I think buying a home is a good thing. I encourage it. I don't think it's for everyone, but I think it's a good thing. And I think over time, if you go into it with the right mindset and the right expectations, it'll be a good investment. People categorize what a good investment is. They say, oh shit, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to buy a house, and in 2 years I'm going to cash out and make double my money and off I go. That's not the mindset you should be going after. It's, I want to buy a nice house that I will be comfortable in, possibly see myself with a family, get some deductions off my income tax for it, and be putting money towards equity for a future plan down the road. And hopefully the real estate market cooperates, and off we go.
Right. I think that's sound advice, because you shouldn't be paying someone else's mortgage, right? You
No.
should be paying your own
Yeah.
and building equity, but you shouldn't go into it with
No.
unrealistic, wild
Yeah.
expectations that,
Mhm.
in 2 years you're going to flip this for 100K in profit, because in reality you need to have a longer term strategy in place always.
Yeah, for most people. I mean, a lot of people come to me with the idea, oh, I want to invest, real estate as an investment. I say, I love that idea.
Oh,
You
yeah?
look at the wealthiest people in the country, the most successful people, they all own large real estate portfolios. It's not a secret. But how they acquire those properties is very important. They don't go buy a house at full market value and hold it for 30 years to collect rental income in retirement.
Right.
That doesn't work. They go buy a property, they got it at a 30 or 40% discount, they walk into equity, they have low debt service on it, they hold that property, build it up, make a even sizable bigger equity position, sell it off, and go to the next one.
It's all very strategic.
Very strategic. It's very planned out. It's finding the right opportunities and the time to strike, not just, I'm going to buy a house every 3 years and wait 30 years to collect my income.
Right.
That isn't going to work.
Agreed.
Yes. Good.
Well, unfortunately, we agreed on more things than we disagreed.
I know.
So we'll have to do this again and find other things to fight about.
Oh yeah, we will for sure.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.